Posted by u/thrower12041204. I'm going to try to explain this mess as best I can, but it really is a mess. I, 25F, think my husband, 37M, is the greatest man ever. He is incredibly kind, generous, intelligent, and loving. On top of this, he is an adorable nerd, which to me is a great quality, and his dorky jokes are my favorite thing, but it means he was bullied a lot as a child and is not terribly socially confident. He is definitely a follower, not a leader. I think all these qualities are relevant to the current situation. To begin at the beginning, at the time I met my husband, I was struggling with an addiction to prescription medication, which I had developed while studying at a very competitive college. By the time I started dating my husband, it was getting impossible to hide the fact that I had a serious problem. While he was incredibly supportive and encouraged me to seek help, I was ashamed. So, I lied. I told him that I was already seeking professional help and that I was really getting better, when in reality, I was just trying to go cold turkey and shove all the emotions down until they went away. I immediately felt awful about this, which just made me more reluctant to come clean. At this time, my husband introduced me to his old childhood friend, whom I'll call Alex, 40-ish M. Alex is a Catholic priest and was staying with my husband at the time. Both Alex and my husband are from a Catholic country in Europe. Both of their families are part of one of those charismatic movements, which is like a very close-knit, conservative church group. Because Alex was always the cool and confident guy growing up, my husband worshipped Alex. He talked Alex up to me and was insistent that I talk to Alex alone about my addiction problems because he sincerely believed Alex could help with my recovery. I met with Alex a total of 4 times over the course of 1 week. All these meetings took place in my husband's apartment when my husband was out. During the first session, he seemed nice and helpful, and because I was feeling so bad about lying to my husband, I pretty much confessed to him straight away. From this point forward, Alex creeped me out. I don't know how to explain it other than to say he was constantly looking at me like I was food. I think I will remember this next part until the day I pass. It was so awful. During our 4th and final session, Alex asked me a series of questions about the kinds of intimate things I had done with my husband, who was at that time still my boyfriend. When I told him honestly that we didn't do anything physical other than hug and kiss, he laughed and said that my husband was always so bad with girls and that if I were used correctly, I would be much happier and my addiction issues would go away. I was just kind of dumbstruck. He moved closer to me and said, verbatim, think about it this way. God does everything for a reason, and He made you very intimately attractive to please men. Isn't it wrong that you're not using your gift correctly? Does it not follow that you would feel more fulfilled if you did use it correctly? At this point, my brain was screaming nope, so I told him nope, with my mouth too. Right away, he got aggressive and threatened, in a whole lot more words, to expose my lie to my husband if I didn't let him smash with me. Yeah, nope, I got the hell out of there, and I didn't hesitate to tell my husband about my lie and about his backstabbing awful friend. I'm so grateful my husband believed me and gave me a second chance. My husband, always an upstanding citizen, reported the incident to Alex's home diocese in Europe, which put him on indefinite leave. I'm pretty sure this is Catholic for fired because he's a freaking creep. This was 2.5 years ago. In the meantime, I got professional help, we got married, and are now expecting a baby. Before COVID, my husband got a grant to work on a project near his old hometown, where Alex is passing his time on leave, so we're all living in the same area. I took it for granted we weren't talking to Alex. My husband was very upset by everything that happened, and I specifically remember him saying, I never want to see that man again. Yesterday evening, however, my husband casually mentioned, as he was getting out of the shower, that he looked forward to playing soccer with Alex and his brothers in the summer, once the virus had passed and our baby was born. I stayed calm and asked him what the hell he was talking about. He said he didn't want to tell me at first, but Alex had reached out to him via his family when we first arrived in the area and apologized for what he'd done. They'd been talking and texting for months now, and according to my husband, Alex is so happy that his actions didn't hurt our relationship, as in my husband's relationship with me, and is looking forward to baptizing our baby. My husband's basic reasoning here is that everybody deserves a second chance and that all is well because Alex humbled himself enough to apologize. Yeah, hell to the mother effing no. This man is not getting anywhere near my baby. Not only was he gross and manipulative, but he also tried to use religion to justify it, which I think means he is the last person who should be involved in a baptism. Also, I may be judgmental here, but I don't believe for 1 second that Alex is really sorry. On the other hand, I have also benefited from my husband's everybody deserves a second chance policy, and I feel hypocritical telling him this guy doesn't deserve a second chance. My husband seems to show some understanding that I would be upset by this, as he was pretty sheepish about explaining the situation, but he also just seems to think I'll get over it. What the hell do I do here? Can I forbid Alex from ever getting near my baby? Update 1. First things first, thank you. I was in an emotional tizzy when I posted last time, and many of your comments were genuinely helpful. Many of you are by far the kindest strangers on the internet I could ever hope to meet. Second, in response to the several messages I got requesting a denouement to this freaking mess, on the Sunday following my post, I sat down with my husband and let all of my frustration out. It was obvious neither one of us was comfortable with the situation and that we had been tiptoeing around the subject for days. I told him, as so many of you encouraged me to do, that it hurt me that he had hidden this from me and that I respected his decision to forgive Alex, but his decision wasn't mine. I'll be honest, I cried really hard. After I had spoken my piece, my husband told me that he was also not really happy with Alex's apology and was eager to tell me that the baptism thing was not his idea. My husband claims that originally he didn't want to talk to Alex, but that my mother-in-law and Alex's mother, who was very close to my mother-in-law, kept cajoling him until he agreed to correspond with Alex. From there, he says he was railroaded into accepting the apology and, later on, into agreeing to let Alex perform the baptism. Furthermore, my husband says it was his mother's and Alex's mother's idea to keep this from me, as they claimed too much stress would hurt the baby, and told him that it was his duty as man of the house to spare me from delicate situations like this. Apparently, they had planned to spring this on me when I was freshly postpartum and, as I think, too weak to protest too much, but my husband did not have the guts for that kind of criminal enterprise. After this conversation, I found the search history on his phone full of items like stress complications with fetus and maternal anxiety effects on fetus, so I genuinely believe that he was struggling to find the best way to come clean long before he mentioned it. He also apologized to me for breaking his wedding vows, while, unfortunately, the traditional Catholic vows that his parents selected basically make me my husband's property. They also stipulate that he is to protect me and our children from all harm and always be truthful with me, which he readily admitted he didn't do in this situation. For his own part, he still said he pitied Alex and wanted to keep up a supportive relationship with him, but it doesn't look like that will pan out. It is clear to me, and to my husband, though he would never be so openly cynical, that this is all a plot to get their little community to accept Alex again. If Alex's family can go around to all their friends waving pictures of me, my husband, and our little one with Alex, it will look as if all is forgiven and furthermore, might look as if the original incident had been blown out of proportion. This hurts me in so many ways. I really do love my husband's family, and I thought the love was mutual. I'm going to simplify a complex relationship here and say truthfully that I have had suspicions for a while that his mother doesn't like or respect me. It wasn't relevant to my original post, but I actually asked my husband out on our first date. Yes, I didn't know how old he was, but I was at a low point in my life, and his warmth and kindness really made an impression on me. This is very relevant to understanding my relationship with his mother. While I couldn't really speak directly to her the first time we met, as I didn't know Italian, and she doesn't know English, I could tell from her expression, her gestures, and the little bit my husband would translate for me that she didn't think I was feminine enough, but at the same time thought I was a SLT for going after her son. While I had hoped I was wrong, I had also suspected that she blamed me for what happened with Alex. I have only caught a few comments here and there, but I have gotten the impression that she almost thinks that I'm a loose woman who had it coming. Again, I may be too sensitive. Obviously, this whole situation is not over and won't be over for a while. My husband readily and happily agreed to tell Alex right that afternoon that we would be waiting to baptize the baby until a priest from my own family can do it. Alex reacted poorly, and my husband looked completely drained after he got off the phone. We have, by common consent, just agreed not to discuss his mother's role in this until we can see a couples therapist, because if we do, I will say some very non-feminine and probably ill-advised things. As I said, this hurts a lot. To get very real with all you strangers on the internet, I have never had a good family life. When I got married, I thought I had found a real, supportive family. While I truly believe my relationship with my husband is strong and I think we are both much happier now that the shadow of Alex is no longer overhanging our relationship, I have had to come to terms with the fact that this family is just as manipulative as mine was, and that my marriage is probably going to need a lot of professional help. Once again, I thank you all for your time and attention. I am indebted to you all because without your support, I don't think I would have had the confidence to confront this issue as effectively as I did. Additionally, if you have any spare time, I'd like to ask, how do I remain polite to my mother-in-law? Because that is going to be a challenge. Editor's note. Op hasn't updated in 4 years. Even with her mother-in-law taking center stage, we can only hope Op, her husband, and their child are all okay.